There was a man who bought his wife a beautiful diamond ring for Christmas. After hearing about this extravagant gift, a friend of his said, I thought she wanted one of those sporty four-wheel drive vehicles. He replied, Yes, she did, but where was I going to find a fake Jeep? Dear friends, in Jesus Christ, on this last Sunday of Advent, few days before Christmas, I find myself reflecting on one of the most profound joys of my priesthood is bringing the Eucharist to the parishioners who cannot make it to Mass. Every time I step into someone's home with the Blessed Sacrament, I am struck by how sacred and intimate that moment feels. It is humbling, truly, to carry Jesus to them, and in return, I receive this overwhelming sense of gratitude and warmth. It always touches my heart deeply. I know many of you who serve as Eucharistic ministers experience this too. The quiet knock on the door, the gentle exchange of smiles, and the shared reverence for the gifts of Christ, these simple acts become moments of grace. It reminds me that even the smallest gestures of love hold incredible power. Today's Gospel speaks of Mary visiting Elizabeth. Picture that scene for a moment. Mary, carrying Jesus within her, traveling all that way just to be with her cousin. And simply by showing up, she brought joy that overflowed. I imagine that moment Elizabeth saw Mary at her door, the way her face must have lit up with joy and relief. Mary did not need to bring gifts or say anything extraordinary. Her presence alone enough. That was the part of the story lingers within me. How often do we underestimate the power of simply being there for someone who really needed? We might not have all the opportunity to bring Eucharist to others, but we can bring God's love through our presence. Think about it. When you check on your neighbor, take time to call your friend or sit with someone who is going through a hard times. You are sharing Christ's love in the most real and beautiful way. I remember recently visiting a dear friend in her final days. I did not have the right words to say. I often just sat quietly beside her and with her family. But somehow, those silent moments felt sacred. I could feel God's presence in that space, gently wrapping us both in peace. Christmas is such a beautiful reminder that God came to us in the simplest and most profound way. through the birth of Jesus. He did not arrive with grandeur, but quietly in a humble manger to be near us. And that is the heart of it. God chose presence, He chose to walk with us. This Christmas, I invite you to think about who in your life needs the gifts of your presence. Maybe there is someone you have not spoken to in a while, or perhaps a family member who could use some encouragement. Even a brief visit or a heartfelt conversation can carry the love of Christ to those who really needs. So let us take the final days of Advent to slow down, to look around, and to share ourselves with others. Like Mary, may we journey with love, bringing joy wherever we go. And in doing so, may we discover the greatest gift we give is not something wrapped under a tree, but the presence of Christ within us, shared freely with our world.